where I want to start with is what is the purpose of costing, because that will give you the POV from which you have to operate, right? So in accounts, you're doing financial reporting, okay? That is the year का transactions होने के बाद the report that you're preparing for your other stakeholders like your shareholders, your creditors. Whereas costing is done for internal purposes. It's done for your own decision making, right? So what answers does costing give you? It tells you whether manufacturing your product is feasible or not. It tells you if you're manufacturing two products, it tells you whether you should be manufacturing dolls or you should be manufacturing teddy bears. The other thing, the most important question that it answers is that at what price should you be selling your product, right? So how do you arrive at that selling price? You calculate all the costs that went into making that product, you add a profit percentage, and you decide your selling price. So this cost that you decide comes from your cost sheet, which you prepare in costing. So today we are going to learn two types of recording costs. One is the marginal costing method and one is the absorption costing method. I'll tell you all the differences and where which one is used as we reach there. The first session that I want to take is regarding an adjustment of inventory. Inventory is your stock, so I might use those terms interchangeably. So I'll discuss that one adjustment, okay? And then when I teach you marginal and absorption, that adjustment will become one small part of these bigger elements, okay? So let's start with that inventory adjustment. Okay. So your inventory is always of three types. If you're a manufacturing business, you will have inventories of three types. One will be your raw material. So if I make ketchup bottles, if ketchup bottles is my product, my raw material is my tomatoes. Then is my WIP, which is my work in progress, which is my half-made ketchup bottles, or say it could be a concentrate, or basically any intermediate product between the raw material and the final ketchup bottle. And my finished goods are my ketchup bottles. Okay, so I have these three types of inventories. Okay, so first let's talk about accounting for your raw material. So, like we've learned in accounts, the accrual concept tells us that in this period, we only want to consider raw material that was consumed and not raw material that was purchased. Our emphasis is on how many tomatoes did I use to make the ketchup, not how many tomatoes I bought. So, how do I calculate how many tomatoes were consumed? So I begin with one opening stock figure that at the start of the year, I count how many tomatoes I had. So let's ignore the amount column for now. That is just the monetary value of my tomatoes. So let's speak in terms of actual टमाटर. Okay. Start of the year मैंने count किया मेरे पास कितने टमाटर है तो 100 टमाटर निकले. ठीक है. During the year, I placed an order for 50 more tomatoes. At the end of the year, I counted my stock again and I had 120 tomatoes. So obviously 30 tomatoes went away somewhere. Where did they go? They went into making ketchup. Okay. So this is the figure that is important to us. This year, what was the kharcha of tomatoes for me? It was the kharcha of 30 tomatoes, which was 3,000 rupees. So when I account when I do the costing for my ketchup bottles manufactured during the period, the raw material cost is this cost of the tomatoes that I used. Okay, so the formula is simple. We took the opening stock, which was 100 tomatoes, we added the 50 tomatoes that were purchased, we subtracted the closing stock because that was not used this year, and we arrived at 30. So the formula for raw material consumed becomes opening plus purchases less closing. You don't want to remember this logic and do these steps. It's perfectly okay to blindly rely on this formula. Opening plus purchases less closing. All right, so that concludes the bit about my raw material inventory. Let's move to my finished goods inventory. The WIP inventory also acts exactly like my finished goods, except in my finished goods, all my costs come because it's after I have incurred all costs. Till WIP, maybe I have incurred only 2-3 costs out of my total costs. Okay, but the accounting remains exactly the same. So let's see how we account for finished goods. So first you total all the expenses that you incurred during the year, right? So say I manufactured 100 units of ketchup bottles. For manufacturing those 100, I incurred an expense of wages of 12,000, of administrative expenses of 15,000, and I also have included this raw material of 3,000, right, to manufacture 100 bottles. Okay, so this gives me my cost of goods manufactured. Okay, all the costs I incurred to manufacture 100 ketchup bottles. Okay, now what happens is when I'm calculating my profit or loss, I will compare my costs with my sales, right? I will do sales. These sales is my revenue. Usme se I'll remove my kharcha to find my profit. Now, suppose I manufactured 100 ketchup bottles, but I did not manage to sell 100 ketchup bottles. Okay. Say I managed to sell only 60 ketchup bottles. In that case, I need to take the proportionate cost amount. I need to take the proportionate cost amount to compare it with sales, right? Because I cannot compare the cost of 100 ketchup bottles with the revenue of only 60 bottles. All right. The other thing that happens is this year, if I sold 60 ketchup bottles, okay, it does not necessarily mean that those 60 bottles came from the 100 that I manufactured this year. Why? Because I had some ketchup bottles that were unsold from last year. So I had an existing opening stock of ketchup bottles that I sold. When that got over, I sold some more from the ones that I manufactured this year. And after that, some more bottles were still left with me, which became my closing stock of the year. So essentially, when we are finding out the cost to compare with my sales, what I have to do is I have to add the cost of my opening stock because that is getting sold. And I have to remove the cost of my closing stock because that is not getting sold. Okay, so that is exactly what I have done here. First, I found out my cost of goods manufactured, right, which was just a total of all the expenses I incurred during the year. Then I added the opening stock. Okay, uska cost was 9,000 and I subtracted the closing stock, jiska cost was 12,000. This gave me an important figure called COGS or cost of goods sold. This is now, as you can see, 100 plus 30 minus 40, 60 units, ka cost 27,000, right? This now can be compared to my COG, to my sales figure to get an accurate profit figure. Okay, so basically this raw material adjustment and this finished good adjustment will go and sit somewhere in your marginal costing and somewhere in your absorption costing, which we'll do in the next session. All right, so the first thing we learned in costing was cost classification. So before I begin marginal costing, I want you all to think of fixed and variable costs, okay? Because marginal costing holds fixed and variable costs sacrosanct. What are fixed costs? Fixed costs are those costs which do not get impacted by my level of production, right? So even if I produce 100 units or I produce 0 units, I have to pay the same rent every month. Okay, so those are my fixed costs. What are my variable costs? My variable costs increase when my production goes up and they decrease when my production goes down. Okay, so the classic example is if I manufacture shirts and I use cotton to manufacture it. So the amount of cotton that I use goes up when I manufacture more shirts and it goes down when I manufacture less shirts. And that's variable costs. Okay, so what marginal costing does is, okay, so let's take an example that I suppose I manufacture a product for which I have one factory on which I pay rent and I have one laborer over there to whom I pay wages as per my production. Okay, now tomorrow, say, Suvansh comes to me and he says, Shagun, can you manufacture 20 units of shirts for me? Right? So when I have to quote Suvansh a minimum price, okay, what is the analysis that I do in my head? Whether I accept his order or not, I am going to be paying the rent. Okay, so that is not an income that I'm expecting from him. but the cost that I pay to my laborer, the wages that I pay to him for the products that are manufactured, right, that I will incur only if I accept this order, right? So marginal costing tells you कि find out your variable costs first, because fixed cost तुम वैसे भी incur करने वाले हो, and cover at least your variable costs. Okay. Now with that introduction, let's talk about what the format of marginal costing looks like. Okay. It starts with sales. From sales, you remove variable costs first. The amount that you get is your contribution. From your contribution, you remove fixed costs, and then what remains is your profit. Okay. Sales minus VC is C. C minus FC is P. All right. Now, when we'll be doing this case study, there will be layers that get added to each of these items, but this structure will remain common. Okay, the broad structure remains common. And there are a few layers that get added, which we'll discuss as we do the case. So let's start with the case. I'll just run you all through the question quickly. Okay. So here they have given you a budgeted activity level of 50 versus 100%. It's the 100% activity level is just the double, so you can ignore the 50%. Okay, it says that during a year, they expect you to manufacture 800, they expect you to sell and produce 800 units. So they're assuming that you're selling everything that you produce. So they've given you your revenue, right? Then they've given you two types of costs. They've given you production costs, which is to make your product, and the selling and distribution costs, which is to sell your product after production is complete. Okay. Each of these costs has been divided into variable and fixed, because there are some production costs which will be variable and fixed, and there are some selling costs which will be variable and fixed, right? So this is what is given in the question. The other thing we need to know is that right now the cost sheet, the marginal costing that we are preparing is just for the first quarter, in which we produced 220 units, out of which we sold only 160 units, right? So we made 220, but we sold only 160. So that means this should tell you right here that you have a closing stock of 60 units. Okay. So this right here alerts you that you're going to have to make the closing stock adjustment that we did in the first session. Now let's start filling this up. So here I have recorded first the 100% activity level, which is given in the question. Okay. What this helps me do is it helps me calculate a per unit rate, which will remain same. And then I use this per unit rate to calculate my Q1 figures. Okay. Let's start by recording the sales figure. So as you can see here, they say at 100% activity level, the sales amount is 16 lakhs. My number of units is 800. So in this case, of course, this is my sales price, which is my amount of sales divided by number of unit, which comes to 2000. Okay. Now, as per my marginal costing format, I have to record my variable costs first. Okay. Now, let's see. The variable cost of production here is 6,40,000. So let's record that. Again, I have reduced 800 units. So my per unit variable cost is 800 rupees. Now, as you can see, there is another variable cost, which is selling and distribution. So here I'll group both variable costs and mention them right here. That's 3,20,000. Number of units is still 800. So my per unit selling and distribution rate becomes 400. Now my contribution, as you can see, is my sales minus variable costs. So let's first find the total of the variable cost. And now this total I subtract from my sales. Okay. Now let's talk about fixed costs. So fixed costs, I have to just directly use them. Here it's given 1,60,000. And the selling fixed costs are 2,40,000. Okay. Now what happens is the fixed costs do not vary per unit, right? So I cannot calculate a per unit figure for fixed costs. Fixed costs are fixed costs. Okay. There is no per unit rate. So this is, I've just populated the question here. Okay. Now let's move to our, what we are supposed to do, which is the Q1 figures. All right. So in my sales, now I know that I sold 160 units, right? So let's write 160 here. Now to calculate the amount of sales, I'll use the 160 units and multiply it by the sales price that I calculated using my 100% activity levels. So that came to 3 lakh 20. Oops. All right. Now coming to my variable costs. Now I do know that I have to record one production cost and I have to record one selling cost. Now the difference that you need to recognize is that we discussed that because the number of produced and sold units are different, we are going to have to make an adjustment. But that adjustment within variable costs need to be performed only for production cost, because the production costs have been incurred on 220 units, right? So they need to be adjusted. But my selling costs have been incurred only on the units that got sold, which was 160, राइट सो दे डोंट नीड एन एडजस्टमेंट बिकॉज वो पहले से 160 के लिए ही इनकर हुए हैं सो आई एम एनीवेज गोइंग टू रिकॉर्ड इट फॉर 160 यूनिट्स इट इज अ वेरिएबल कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन बिकॉज आई प्रोड्यूस्ड फोर दिस नंबर इज हायर एंड उसमें से मेरे को क्लोजिंग स्टॉक हटाना पड़ेगा राइट सो दिस वाज वन लेयर दैट गॉट एडेड हियर okay so for variable production cost my number of units is 220 not 160 the amount is the 220 units that I manufactured into the rate that I calculated 800. Okay. Now, what is my closing stock? My closing stock is how much I produced minus how much I sold, right? 60. What do I value this 60 at? I value it at the cost so far, which is 60 units into the cost of production, which is 800. Okay. So my variable cost of goods sold only for the goods sold, which is 220 minus 60. For 160, my variable cost becomes 1,28,000. Okay. Now the selling one is easy. Now we have just 160 units and I multiply the 160 units by my selling and distribution ka per unit rate. So that becomes a cost of 64,000. Now I add for my total variable cost, I add my variable cost of goods sold and I add to it my variable selling and distribution overhead. So this is my total variable cost. Okay. Now contribution is just sales minus this total variable cost. Now, when it comes to my fixed cost, what happens is this 1,60,000 has been incurred for the entire year. Right now, I am making a calculation for just Q1, right? Fixed costs do not vary as per the number of units, but they are a function of time, right? Like rent or electricity. So if I'm incurring 160 over a period of 12 months, then when I'm calculating my Q1 production, it is only for 4 months, which is why to calculate fixed cost for Q1, I take my fixed cost for the entire year and I simply divide it by 4 because I'm doing a Q1 production, right? The same goes for my fixed selling and distribution overheads. So I took this and I divided it by 4. So let's add one row here. So this is my, this gives me my total. Let's make it fixed cost. So my total fixed costs become the fixed production costs plus my fixed selling costs, which is 1 lakh. And to find my profit, I subtract the fixed costs from my contribution. And this is my final profit figure. All right, so I'll just give a small recap of everything we did. our main structure was sales minus variable cost gives me contribution. Contribution minus fixed cost gives me profit. Within this, what happened is variable costs were of two types. There was a production cost and there was a selling cost. And within fixed costs, again, there were two costs. There was a production fixed cost and there was a selling and distribution fixed cost. All right. This was one layer that got added. The other thing that happened is I had to adjust the variable production cost because that was on my number of units produced or manufactured. So I had to remove the closing stock from it to find the cost of goods sold, right? Because my sales was only on 160 unit. And right, like we discussed in the first video, I have to compare 160 units with 160 units, which is why I removed the cost of 60 units from 220 units, right? And as you can see here also, it is sales, variable cost gives contribution minus fixed cost gives profit. And that is the end of marginal costing. Okay, so the last topic for this video is the cost sheet. Simple. Why is the cost sheet prepared? The cost sheet records all your costs, okay? Then it divides that total cost by number of units. What you get is the cost per unit. To this cost per unit, you add a desired percentage of profit, and that gives you the selling price per unit. Okay, so that is the purpose of the cost sheet. Now, the reality of the situation is that the cost sheet is a dictated format that you need to follow, right? So you will have to learn it by heart. Ratta karna padega, jaisa hai waisa. And there is not much for me to explain because it is just one line item after the other. So what I will do is I'll walk you through the cost sheet, but make sure you learn it. There's not much logic left to understand in it. So let's start by looking at the cost sheet. So the cost sheet begins with the first item, which is the direct material consumed. Now, how did we arrive at this figure? That was the beginning of the video. The opening stock of raw material plus additional purchases less closing gives me the first item of my cost sheet, which is direct material consumed. Okay. To that, I add other direct costs like direct labor, direct expenses to get my prime cost. Okay. We've discussed cost classification in the first session. The first topic was cost classification, so I won't get into direct, indirect now. So yeah, so I added direct material, direct labor, direct expenses to get my prime cost. Okay. This is one subheading that is important. Now to that, I add factory overheads. So these are generally fixed expenses that I incur in relation to my factory. So this could be, say, my factory electricity or my factory rent. Okay, so when I add this factory overhead to my prime cost, the figure that I get is called the gross works cost. Okay. Now to this, we make the same adjustment that we learned for fixed cost, where we add opening and we subtract closing. Except that here it is the WIP inventory. Okay, so after gross works cost, remember that you have to adjust for just the WIP inventory. Okay. Then the figure that you get is called your factory cost. This is another subheading. So if you will see, these are the subheadings, the important subheadings: prime cost, gross works cost, and then factory cost. Okay. To this, you will now add all your balance production costs. Okay, strictly costs related to production. So here we've added quality control, we've added R&D, we have added admin, but within admin, there is a disclaimer that this is only the admin costs which are related to your production activity. So these could be the salaries of employees which are solely engaged in production activities. Okay. And to this, I add my packing cost. Now, again, here there is a disclaimer that this is my primary packing cost. So, like sometimes there are certain fancy packages that are that the product comes in, and those are for promotion purposes. So, those are counted as a selling cost. But basically, to sell, like to produce my unit, also I need, like for medicines, the main bottle that becomes part of my production cost itself, right? So now to my factory cost, right? My last subheading, I added this quality control, R&D, admin, packing, and that gave me one major important heading called cost of production. Now the next adjustment is the exact same that we saw in Wonderlet, where cost of production to alag number of units pe hai, we need to get it to the number of units that are sold, and therefore we add opening stock of finished goods and we remove the closing stock which is unsold, right? And this gives us another important subheading which also we saw in Wonderlet, my COGS, my COGS, which is again COP plus opening plus closing. Okay, now to my COGS, I add all my selling costs, right? So first, so I add my selling costs as well as my admin costs, which were pending, which were other than production. All other administrative costs get added over here, and this brings me to the final figure, which is my cost of sales, my last subheading. सो फाइनली व्हाट हैपेंस इज यहाँ पे कहीं मैं रिकॉर्ड करूंगी सेल्स, देन ऑल दिस कॉस्ट शीट फॉलोज विथ एंडिंग विथ कॉस्ट ऑफ सेल्स, एंड सेल्स में से मैं ये कॉस्ट ऑफ सेल्स सब्ट्रैक्ट करूंगी तो मुझे मेरा एस्टिमेटेड प्रॉफिट आएगा. Alright, so that concludes the cost sheet. Again, repeating it one last time, do go through the cost sheet and learn it by rote. Okay, now there is one case study related to the cost sheet called this Huron cost sheet. So what I'll do is, due to paucity of time, for now, I'll just run you through the solution. Okay, but I do encourage you to try this case study on your own. It's a direct replica of the cost sheet that we just theoretically learned. Okay, so it, like you can see, it starts with direct material. And for direct material, they have done this calculation, which we learned in the first part of this video, where it started with my opening stock, they added purchases, and then they deducted my closing stock, right? So that gave me raw material used. To this, I added my direct labor. So both direct costs add करके मेरे को मिला prime cost. Okay. Then in the sheet also, there were production overheads that were added. Production, manufacturing are synonymous. So now here I add my manufacturing overheads. Okay. Now see, if these numbers, right, the indirect material, labor, depreciation, blah, 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 all these are the actual overheads that were incurred. Now that comes to 580. Right, that this is given in the question, but what they have said is that the company did not use these figures for first, they didn't have these figures, right, for when they were first making the cost sheet. So at that time, the question directly tells you कि उन लोग ने मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कॉस्ट अब्सॉर्ब किए थे एट 5,77,500. This is given in the question that they directly absorbed it at this cost. So here what you need to realize is कि actual तो 580 आ रहा है, but कंपनी ने 577,500 पे अब्सॉर्ब किया है. So मैंने 2,500 कम अब्सॉर्ब किया है. So there is a 2,500 under absorption which I need to adjust somewhere. Let's park this. Let's just keep it in mind. Okay. So for the company, before these numbers were revealed, what has happened is essentially it added its direct material, which was this material consumed. It added direct labor, that became prime cost. Then it added this absorbed manufacturing cost of 577,500, and it came to its works cost. To its works cost, it made the WIP adjustment, which was adding opening WIP, subtracting closing WIP. So what you got was your cost of production. Now, cost of production देखा तो तुमको अभी immediately click हो जाना चाहिए from the first caselet and from the theoretical cost sheet कि अब मेरे को finished goods का adjustment करना है, because मैं cost of produced goods को कभी नहीं कर सकती with the cost of sales, because they need to be in same number of units. So here they have made the adjustment for finished goods, right, where they started with opening stock of finished goods, they added the cost of the current cost, so that became जो अभी मेरे पास goods है उसमें से उन लोग ने finished goods निकाल दिए. So they arrived at cost of goods sold. This is again, like I said, one of my major subheadings. Okay, now to this they made an adjustment for that 2500 जो उन लोग ने कम चार्ज किया था, right? They had absorbed it at 577,500, but their costs turned out to be 580. So to my cost of goods sold, I added the under absorption, which was of 2500, and so my cost went from 1767,500 to 1770, and this became my cost of goods sold. Okay, now this cost of goods sold me, I further added my selling and general admin expenses, these, right? Admin and selling, right? I added these to get my cost of sales. Now this cost of sales is comparable with my revenue. So my sales revenue was 21 lakh 5,000. उसमें से मैंने cost of sales less किया, which was 2039 from here. ओके, उसमें से उन लोग ने कुछ इनकम टैक्सेस दिए हैं क्वेश्चन में, वो सब सब्ट्रैक्ट करने के बाद जो बचता है दैट इज माय फाइनल नेट इनकम और माय प्रॉफिट, एंड दैट कंक्लूड्स दिस सम. It concludes the cost sheet and it concludes this video. Thank you.